If you're watching this, then either I'm dead or I've lost everything that ever mattered to me. And honestly, that might be the only way I'd ever have the guts to tell the truth.
I was a contractor for the US Army, retired now, 2 years and counting. But my story doesn't begin on a battlefield. It starts on an island off the tip of Long Island, New York. You might have heard of it, Plum Island. Some think it's just a harmless agricultural research center. Others say it's where the government hides things too dangerous to exist. Both are wrong. Plum Island is where we built something we didn't understand, and something we couldn't control. Back in 2008, I was assigned to a team working on mine detection. Not gold mines, not copper mines. The kind that go boom. I didn't ask questions. We all knew the real reason we were there. To find cheaper ways to save American limbs without making the defense contractors spend a damn dime more than necessary. Dogs were too expensive. Tech was unreliable. So we turned to animals. At first, we tested bees. Yeah, bees. Turns out they can detect explosives by scent. But they didn't survive well in different climates. Fragile, limited range, and frankly, no one was lining up to deploy bee battalions into enemy territory. That's when someone suggested rats, not your average sewer rats. These were Gambian pouched rats, imported from Africa, size of a small dog, hyper-intelligent, and, most importantly, cheap. We trained them like bomb, sniffing dogs, and they worked. Damn well. Actually, it felt like we'd found the holy grail of budget-friendly battlefield safety. But budget. Friendly came at a cost. The higher-ups, the ones in suits and dark sunglasses who talk in acronyms, DTRA, DARPA, and God knows what else, they came to us with a suggestion. Make the rats bigger. Make them live longer. Make them better. So, using the infectious disease labs on the island, we started modifying their DNA. We didn't ask questions. You don't ask questions when the guy signing your paycheck has security clearance 10 levels above your own. The results were impressive. At first, the next generation of rats were massive, German Shepherd-sized, muscular, coordinated. They responded well to handlers, performed drills perfectly, and seemed stable for 3 days. Then we found 5 of them dead, torn apart, eaten by the others in the pen. The remaining rats were soaked in blood, like they'd enjoyed it, like it had been instinct. Something had changed. We should have shut it all down, terminated the program. But instead, we doubled down. The drills continued. We buried mines in the practice field. 10 soldiers, no weapons, just training with their rats. We monitored from the tower, cameras on, notes ready. Then it happened. The largest rat, we called him Atlas, stood up on his back legs, sniffed the air, and let out this shriek. Not a noise of fear, not even a signal. It was a command. In less than 10 seconds, every rat turned on the soldiers, and what they did next changed me forever. 10 soldiers, no weapons, just drills. But that day, it wasn't training anymore. That day turned Plum Island into a slaughterhouse. They didn't hesitate. The moment Atlas shrieked, the rats surged forward like a single, living wave. They moved with coordination. No hesitation. No fear. Each rat picked a target, 2 at a time. 10 soldiers, 20 rats. Like it had been. Rehearsed. The soldiers screamed. One went down in seconds. His leg torn open. Blood jetting into the air like a broken fire hydrant. Another tried to run, but a rat latched onto his back, teeth ripping through flesh like paper. I saw him stumble, arms flailing,
before disappearing under a mass of fur and teeth. We were helpless, watching from the observation tower, 100 feet away, behind reinforced glass. We had no weapons, no alarm button, just cameras rolling, just our own horror, reflected in the monitor screens. It wasn't a frenzy. It was surgical. The rats targeted legs, femoral arteries, disabling them. Then they went for the face, the soft parts, cheeks, eyes, tongues. These weren't animals. They were executioners. No one made it more than 20 feet. Not one.
I thought the screaming would be the worst part, but it wasn't. It was the silence afterward, just the sound of wind and the soft chewing. My stomach turned. I looked over at another tech beside me. He had gone ghost pale. Tears streaked down his face, and he was mumbling something over and over. Something about Psalm 91. I couldn't hear the words. All I could think about was why. What had we done? That's when the rats turned toward us. Atlas was the first to move. He sniffed the air again and looked up, directly at our tower. I swear to God he knew we were up there. His black eyes locked onto mine, and then he ran. Not aimlessly, not in retreat. He ran for the fence, and the rest followed. They hit the electric perimeter hard. Sparks flew. The smell of burning hair and cooked meat filled the air. A dozen rats collapsed, twitching and smoking against the fence. But they didn't stop. They climbed over the bodies of the dead, using them as insulation. Each wave pushed forward, sacrificing some, just to build a bridge. I'd never seen behavior like that, not even in humans under fire. Somehow, Atlas made it to the top of the 30-foot fence and jumped down on our side. Panic erupted. Some of the researchers who were still on ground level ran for the labs. Others scattered toward the north end, toward the infectious disease sector. God help them. We were trapped in the tower. 5 of us. No exit except down the same stairwell Atlas was now climbing. We locked the hatch, piled a desk over it. One guy picked up a chair like it was going to stop something that could chew through concrete. And then, bang! The tower shook as Atlas slammed into the hatch. Bang! Again! Bang! The desk cracked. The 4th hit nearly knocked the table off. And then, silence. We thought maybe he was dead. Maybe a sniper got him. Maybe this nightmare would finally end. We were wrong. We heard the scraping. Atlas was climbing the outer wall of the tower. One of the techs screamed. Another fumbled at the table, trying to unlock the hatch so we could escape. But there was nowhere to run. I turned and saw Atlas's head rising up outside the open window. Blood-covered fur, jaws twitching, eyes locked on mine. And then, a gunshot. Atlas's head exploded. He dropped like a stone, thudding into the dirt below. Snipers. The ACT squad had finally taken position, but it wasn't over yet, because one rat got away. They shot Atlas in the head, but he wasn't the only one. One got away. One of them made it to the water, and the government made sure the world would never know the truth. After Atlas dropped from the tower and hit the ground, the ACT squad lit up the remaining rats like a damn war zone. Automatic gunfire, flashbangs, even flamethrowers. It was full containment protocol, something I didn't even know existed until that day. From the tower, I saw what looked like over 30 bodies, rats and humans alike, scattered across the field. Blood, fur, shattered limbs. It looked like something out of hell. And then, I saw it. One of the rats, badly burned, limping, dragging itself away from the chaos. Half its fur was gone, tail mangled, but it was alive. It reached the fence, already short, circuited from all the bodies piled against it, and slipped through a gap like a dying beast on a mission. It made it to the shoreline, and then it swam. We reported it immediately. Within minutes, a chopper and a black Zodiac boat were dispatched from the far end of the island. I watched them chase it into the waves. That night, we were locked in the medical wing, examined, scanned, blood drawn, no explanations, just a clipboard and a man with dead eyes telling us we were on a need to no basis. Then came the debriefing. 16 hours. 6 different agencies. They didn't ask us what we saw. They told us what we saw. The soldiers were killed in a training accident involving unexploded ordnance. No animals were genetically altered. There were no breaches. We were handed updated NDAs. Heavier. More aggressive. The kind with real weight behind the words. Prison time. Asset seizure. Family surveillance was even mentioned. We signed because we were terrified.
A few days later, I saw a headline. Montauk monster washes ashore. There it was. A photo of the thing that had escaped Plum Island. Bloated. Hairless. Eyes wide open like it had died terrified. They said it was a raccoon. A decaying dog. A hoax. I knew better. That was one of ours. And the worst part? The media ate it up like a joke. They turned it into a meme. A sideshow. They did their job perfectly. Because while the world laughed, we mourned 10 soldiers and wondered what else had slipped through the cracks. They came for the cameras a week later, confiscated every hard drive, every backup, every cell phone we'd used on base. One guy tried to hide a memory card in his sock. We never saw him again, just gone. People started dying not long after that. Car accidents, suicides, undiagnosed illnesses. Within a year, 37 of the 40 original staff from the project were dead. Under the age of 60, most under 50. You tell me if that's a coincidence. I started looking over my shoulder, took different routes to work, started sleeping with the lights on. My laptop stayed off the grid. My email? Never personal. I lived like a man with a target on his back, because I was... But the worst part, the one that still gives me chills after 15 years, isn't the rats, or the cover, up. It's what my son Ned said just before he died. They're still watching you, Dad, even when you're offline. I used to think the government hid things. I was wrong. They don't just hide the truth, they erase it. After the Montauk monster washed ashore, it wasn't about science anymore. It wasn't about rats or landmines or even national security. It was about control. The first death that didn't feel like an accident was Dr. Ellis, our lead geneticist. Brilliant guy, paranoid. Yes, but for good reason. He was found dead in his garage, engine running, windows up, carbon monoxide poisoning. They ruled it suicide, except he'd just bought a new car. Electric. A month later, Tina, our behavioral analyst, fell off a 4th floor balcony while on vacation in Arizona. No witnesses, no camera footage. Next was Mark, the tech who tried to smuggle out a memory card. His wife said he went out for milk and never came back. The body they found 2 weeks later in the Hudson didn't even match his dental records. Still, it was listed as him. 37 of us worked directly on the project. Only 3 remain. Myself, a microbiologist named Grant, and a soldier named Ray Dawson. We've all gone underground in our own ways. But the truth, they're coming for us, too. Just slower, more methodical. I haven't used a credit card in 18 months. I bounce between burner phones like I'm changing socks. I haven't seen Grant or Ray in person since 2017. We only speak in code. And even then, not often.
Last year, I got an unmarked envelope in my mailbox. No return address, just a flash drive inside and a sticky note that read, "You were right. It was never just about the rats." I didn't want to look. I shouldn't have looked. But I did. And I wish I hadn't. Inside the drive were two files. One was a video, black and white, night vision, labeled Barn C, 04:32 a.m. It showed a rat. Not just any rat. It was Atlas. Or something that looked like him, except bigger, hairless, scarred, and not dead. The timestamp was from 6 months ago. He was still alive. Or worse, he was back. The second file was a document. Internal memo, top-level clearance. It talked about cross, species neurological transfer, military bio, weapons, and something labeled Project Dominion. I remember sitting there, staring at that word, shaking. My hands wouldn't stop. Dominion. Not defense. Not containment. Control. Later that night, I got a call. Unknown number. I didn't answer. They didn't leave a voicemail. They didn't need to. Because an hour later, my internet cut out. My backup generator turned on without cause. And my dog, who never barked at anything, ran under the bed and pissed himself. That's when I knew they'd found me. I left the house at 3:13 a.m., burner phone in one pocket, flash drive in the other. I haven't been home since. If you're watching this, and you still think this is a conspiracy theory, let me ask you one thing. Why would I run? Why would I abandon everything I own? Why would I be living off gas station sandwiches and Motel 6 rooms if this was just a story? No, they're real. The rats were just the beginning.
And the worst part? I think they're still experimenting, still breeding, still building something far worse than we ever imagined. Because when you erase all the witnesses, you can start again. And this time, no one will be left to tell the story. I've recorded this more times than I can count. Every time I try to tell the whole story, something stops me. Fear, guilt. But tonight, I'm done running. This isn't a survival story anymore. This is my confession.
I was never a whistleblower. I didn't want to be the hero. I just wanted to retire quietly, maybe live long enough to forget what I saw on Plum Island.
But some things don't fade. They rot inside you. They keep you up at night. They show up in your dreams, wearing the faces of people you watched die. 10 soldiers, gone. Dozens of scientists, vanished. 37 good people, erased. All because we followed orders. We thought we were building tools for peace. What we really built were templates for control. The rats were just the prototype. Project Dominion was never about mind detection. It was about designing a weapon that could learn, adapt, and obey without question. Think about it. A creature that doesn't need food or orders, that can track, hunt, swarm, and kill with absolute precision. No guilt, no remorse, just programming. And what if you didn't need cages? What if you could release them into a population and just let nature take its course? That's what the last memo on the flash drive revealed. Not testing, deployment, field trials, conducted in hostile territories, urban centers, and even domestic sites under plausible deniability conditions. I'll spell it out for you. They've already been released. That plague of aggressive rats in Mumbai in 2014, that village in Alaska where dozens of sled dogs were found mutilated overnight, that 2021 warehouse fire in New Jersey with no bodies ever recovered, none of that was natural, but all of it, buried in paperwork, redacted reports, and media distraction. They've perfected the cover, up, and now
They're perfecting the next generation. I saw photos of a new breed, not rats this time. Something larger, standing upright, thin, patches of fur, clawed hands. You'd think I'm crazy. Hell, I feel crazy. I've eaten food out of vending machines for 3 days straight. My hands shake so badly I can barely hold this phone steady. But I know what I saw, and I know they're still watching me. My son, Ned, once told me, there's no hiding from ghosts made of wires. Dad, he meant surveillance. He meant the people who monitor everything, even when we think we're safe. He's dead now. Car crash, they said. Lost control on a dry road. Except I looked at the footage. There was no skid mark, no brake light, just a flicker of something crossing the road. Something low to the ground. I know what killed my son, and I know who sent it. So what do I want? Revenge? No. Justice? Maybe. But mostly, memory. I want someone, anyone, to remember what we did, what we allowed, what we helped unleash. Because if they wipe me out too, and no one remembers, then they win. So copy this video, mirror it, rip it, send it to people who ask questions. Let them call it fiction. Let them laugh. Just don't let it disappear. Because Plum Island was only the beginning. And next time, it won't be rats. It'll be us.